Thompson Productions.
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
You are so dumb. You are...
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is...
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
It's always the perfect answer. Hello, everybody. Tyler Yonke, LPR, coming to you on Friday. Shit's going to pieces here. I didn't do much prep. It's been a busy week. Plus, I'm doing every day an analysis of the Tour de France, so you can check that out. I streamed that up on my X account, but also it's called Between Two Wheels podcast if you're interested in cycling. So I've been busy with that, and then just stuff got out of control today. And so I came in, and by the way, with these two different podcast things going, it's having issues going out to Rumble. So I'm not at all putting it out to Rumble live, which is a bummer. And there's the problem. And once again, it's not showing all the chat. This is frustrating here. Let's see, LFG. If I do this in here, does it show? Oh my goodness. I'm going to go crazy. Okay, let's see if we can't even do the pop out there. Josh Smith's kid says, "What's good, Tyler?" in chat. I'm procrastinating going on a run. Please bowl me into running. Yeah, so you should go for a run. And I've been back on my bike pretty consistently for about a week and a half now. So it's go for a run. You should be doing that. Sorry, the chat's not going to happen to be. It's going to be a shorter show tonight. I could tell just because shit's already going crazy. Didn't do much prep. But we're going to talk about Epstein because I think this is important. Remember, I did a show earlier when Bonino and Kash Patel came into office and the phase 1 binders, which should never be forgotten. This is something you must remember because of who got the binders and also what the idea was when they got these binders. Liz Wheeler, and she's all upset at Bondi now. And I'm like, okay, but here's the problem. She talked about it at the time. They were picked as this alternative media, right? They're gonna thin the herds. Tim Pool, we've seen him with the White House press corps now. He gets a spot there, and it's not just your old guard, CNNs and whatnot in there. It's now this new media. Okay, well, okay. Do you want to be journalists or do you want to just be dick suckers like you blame CNN of being this whole time, right? So what are you going to do? Are you just going to be propaganda for the administration? So these people get called in there. They give these binders. They were told they can't have their phone. There was this blackout period for like 3 hours or so. They couldn't say anything. They had to basically go along, and they didn't ask any questions. They held up the binders. They were used, but they were used because they're usable people. Cernovich, the Libs of TikTok chick, I think I have a list somewhere. You could just go through it. They're just usable people because they're useless. Okay, but so is Kash Patel. And then I talked about Kash Patel, and I talked about Dan Bongino and what they said before, and then what they said immediately after they got in there. I'm gonna, turn the FBI building into the Deep State Museum on day one, says Kash Patel. No, you're not. Dan Bongino, all this stuff about the Butler shooting. It's easy, and this is why you got to be careful about your pontificating, is because you get people that follow you, and then if things come around and you get put in the reality of the situation where you're able to make differences, but you don't because you're a fraud all the time. Okay. The question is, was Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, were they frauds then or are they frauds now? Yes. The answer is yes. They've always been frauds. It blows me away when you follow some of these people and they're so brave and they have all this expertise and they're on everything, and they're so, forthright in what's going to happen, what's taking place. And then they get into place and it's nothing like either the reality isn't the case, or these are useless people. These aren't leaders in the first place. Okay. Now, what would I be doing in that situation? I don't know. Thanks, Dad. Putting my shoes on, going for a good stream. Have a good stream. Thanks, Josh. Get out of here. Hannah Forseen says, happy Friday. Yes, you too. Sorry, the chat's not, let's actually, let me see if I can fix the chat a little bit here. It would be good too. Oh my God. This is why, by the way, I have to have a 3-minute intro thing, is because I can't ignite the chat to be able to view it and until it's got to be a live one, just the system I use. So you first have to have the stream go live, and then I have to set all this stuff up. So let's see, let's pop this out. Okay, hang on. I think I've got, I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Maybe it's not good. Are you live? Yeah, I'm not live on Rumble today. I had some issues with trying to verify the account. So, okay, I think we can do it this way then. We will do this way. Okay, there you go. Are you not live on Rumble? Yeah, I'm not live on Rumble. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so you got these losers, these Kash Patels et al. We talked about them. And then they come out with, a few weeks ago, it was the Epstein stuff, right? Which is, he didn't commit suicide. Okay, possibly, but we've seen it all. And by the way, words matter in a lot of this stuff. And at the time they said that both of those guys were on there and they said, we've done the testing. Okay. Now they were saying personally they had seen everything. So maybe they are not good with words. Okay. So Pam Bondi goes on stuff and she's like, they asked her about the client list, right? So I have a bunch of bookmarks I'm going to go through here. So let's take a look at some of these bookmarks, because this is kind of where, hopefully, okay, there, Anna Kasparian giving the dick sucking look. Okay, that's good. I'm going to start with.
And I'm wondering if you
Hang on. I don't want these guys. Why is this not muted in here?
Are personally anti-Semitic?
No. How can I be?
How can I be anti-Semitic? Where is? Man, I've got all these. You guys are looking at my bookmarks. I'm going to go back here. Let's go. Here we go.
With Epstein's list, it's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that. Yeah. You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names? I don't care.
Okay, this is fascinating, because now it's not up to Congress, right? But this is where are you not live? Oh, I already answered that one. This is where you have to understand the dynamic here. We saw this with Ted Cruz. And by the way, I lean more on the right. Okay, so I have no fanciful understanding of the left, the Democrats. But the problem you have is these are weak people, the Republicans, okay? And we saw this with the Ted Cruz interview, which is you say something and immediately homelessness or what, it's all the Democrats' fault. It's all that's what, and I'm just like, okay, it's a tired playing game. I see this with Mike Lee all the time. He complains over and over about Obamacare and that it's Obama's fault. And I'm like, okay, that went through. However, you can repeal this. What are you've been in power, you are feckless. No, because you guys prefer the boogeyman. It's the Daily Wire always coming up with some sort of dramatic issue to sell to the boomers, to sell chocolate, to do whatever. You scare them, and it's the same old tactics. That's what we have here with Kash Patel. Right now, it's easy for him when he's got his KSH shirt on, whatever douche bag here, and it's easy for him to blame the Democrats in Durban not releasing these names. Yeah, of course there's a client list. Now he's in charge, and it's up to him, and he isn't doing it. Now he says it's not. Well, how did he know for such a fact? We started this. How did he know for such a fact it was there? What? Who? Either way, he's pathetic. If there is no client list, but there is a client list.
About the list itself, but it released the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list. You're gonna accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released. Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is...
Oh my God. This is, I'd not listened to this. I just saved this. This is bizarre. They did have a new FBI building that he himself moved into, and now he's got, unbelievable. This guy is got to be one of the biggest pieces of shit, pun intended, Indian.
That's why America hates Congress. And this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing.
Okay, I'm with him there on the Republican on majority. However, it's not up to them now. It's up to you, and you're not doing it. This is fantastic. We're going to go here with what he had to say as well. I don't know why this one's in here. Man, so what happened to all these bookmarks? They got really fucked up here. Okay, this chick was really weird. Let's play this. This has nothing to do with this, but watch this.
Hello. So today I have my hubby here, and we're going to talk about how we met. Hello, Snookums. I love him so much. Get closer. First, we need a sippy sippy. I forgot. Would you like one? So we met in a...
Tree.
No.
Coffee shop.
Thank you. We met in a coffee shop.
They're like cartoon characters.
I was the barista. He was le customer. And of course, my barista name was Senorita Awesome. What did he say to you?
What would you like today?
So of course, he says, I want a coffee.
And what kind of coffee did you get, baby?
A hot one.
A hot one! Just like him and me. So I says to him, how hot would you like it?
Hot enough.
Hot enough. And then after looking in his bluish eyes for about 40 seconds, I couldn't take it anymore, and I just went, what did you do?
Nothing.
And that's how we started dating. That's also how I got fired from that coffee shop, but that's a different story. I'm telling you, coffee shops, man. Me and this guy. Can somebody give me an awooga?
COVID didn't take out enough people. That is the most bizarre video I have ever seen. Okay, a lot of stuff here going on. We played that one. I lost some bookmarks. What the fuck happened to him? What happened to some of my bookmarks? I'm looking for one specifically, and don't make me search for it. Don't make me search for it. Okay, let's go here because I'm going to go a little behind the scenes here. Now they're in there. This is Crazoodle. There we go. Okay. So I'm back, folks. I'm back. Here is. Then it didn't take it to the right one. Oh my God, this is killing me here. There you go, John Ziggler. Okay, So John Ziggler puts out there, starts out, and I've had him on the show before. So they have the extreme opposites of mouth to face ratio. Yes, they do. John Ziggler's a journalist. I like him. He's not necessarily pro-Trump. He's been on the show twice before, but he's pretty bombastic. So this person says, why did we hear? Okay, so he starts out here. So this person says, so Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in jail for trafficking underage girls to nobody? Right? Which is a great question. Which that specifically, that's what she's charged for. So why is she in jail for that? And he says there are so many infuriating logical fallacies to the absurd, massive Epstein client list conspiracy theory. But the most underrated is that Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction, prosecuted by the feds who supposedly murdered Epstein, somehow proves the conspiracy. In reality, it was likely the opposite. She was convicted with very little evidence in a moral panic after Epstein killed himself, with everyone desperately needing someone to pay for his crimes. I understand that, but what were the crimes? Right? And this has been the problem all the time. The convictions, as I remember them, was for trafficking. Okay, so you have to have a victim, right, in some sort, and then you have to have people willing to take the traffickers or the traffickees, right? The receipt of stolen goods. That's really what it is. So it doesn't make sense. So then this person says, why did we hear the list is on my desk by the very same people who now say it doesn't exist? Yes, line is one clear option, but strange. And he says, people are conflating list with file. And she obviously didn't bother to read it first. This is not difficult. Okay, that would have to be an assumption, right? She's an attorney. Remember, Pam Bondi is no just, fly-by-night attorney. She's Pam Bondi attorney. She is the head of the DOJ. She was the attorneys general for the state of Georgia, was it, I believe, or Florida. So she's been around, right? And so you can get prosecuted and things can change on statutes on the meaning and different phrasing of words, commas here, right? It can mean different things. It's very important. So legalese, as you say, talking about attorneys, this means something, okay? So I wasn't too clear. And so I said, is this clip deceptively edited then? I'll look for the original. Basically like, hey, let's take a look. So let's take a look and to see what Pam Bondi actually said with your own ears. Let's reverse this back and go.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right.
He didn't. This is where I'm going. So I'll just have to say, this is what John said. You can't be this dumb. She simply conflated files and lists and hadn't reviewed anything yet. To which I said, easy there, cowboy. But the question was list, and words matter. I'll grant you that she's very dumb, but what's your proof that she conflated anything? So this one says, so she is dumb or lying? She needs to go. The question was clearly list. She replied, it on my desk. Yeah, so
right
this.
Now to review, that's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
Now, I don't doubt that she's dumb, right? You can put some things, it's what it is. But he doesn't know. Now, it's funny that what he said was this would be the example of people running cover, right? Then the White House comes out and they say, yeah, that's what it was. That's what, she did. Okay, could be true. But let's go back here and let's see a few other, I got to get rid of this bookmark. These people here, they're horrible. There you go. Let's see what Levit says.
What do you tell MAGA supporters who say they want anyone involved in Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes to be held accountable?
This administration wants anyone who has ever committed a crime to be held accountable, and I would argue this.
That's hyperbole. Anyone who's ever committed a crime to be held accountable, that's bullshit. As I discussed with Trump, with some of the stuff, I believe he actually did commit some crimes, okay? But some of them are just not, it's like the speed limit. Speed limit may be 65, everyone's going 75. Why are you pulling out one guy that's going 74? Now, he's committed a crime or an infraction of the rules, but no one's getting prosecuted for this. This is exactly what it is for, the secret files that he had at Mar-a-Lago, but Biden had them, Hillary's had them, Obama, everybody's doing this. So why are it's selective prosecution, but it doesn't mean that he didn't actually commit the crime. Okay, let's not be overstating here.
This administration has done more to lock up bad guys than certainly the previous administration.
Well, except for the Epstein people.
And the Trump administration is committed to truth and to transparency. That's why the Attorney General and the FBI Director pledged at the President's direction to do an exhaustive review of all of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and his death. And they put out a memo in conclusion of that review. There was material they did not release because, frankly, it was incredibly graphic and it contained child pornography, which is not something that's appropriate for public consumption. But they committed to an exhaustive investigation. That's what they did, and they provided the results of that. That's transparency.
No, it's not. I think, as I said, part of the problem is the two protagonists in this case, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, they were some of the most outspoken about what needs to be done and released. We just played a clip there from Kash. So then you come in and suddenly they're the biggest defenders. It's too rich. It's too rich. What they should have said the whole time in their thing now is like, I was completely wrong. Here is why I was wrong. I didn't know fuck shit about anything when I was just saying stuff. I was just saying stuff. I did that all the time. You couldn't believe a word I said on my radio. Now I'm trustworthy. So you see the problem here? Because they didn't even do that. They acted like they never made these comments before, and we saw the ones with Kash. So something has to work. If you are going to be an honest broker, you're going to admit to getting things wrong. But the problem is, if they admit to getting things wrong, they've got to admit as to why. And I actually believe, personally, that there was something to be had previously, and they probably did know something. So that's the actual tough part. Okay, so let me get back to, I wanted to play, man, this bookmark stuff doesn't go well. Okay, let's keep playing some of these here. Let's go to, actually I want to go to this one here. Let's go to 2-minute clip here from Tucker Carlson.
So let's just assess this logically. They're covering up, the DOJ, the current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up crimes, very serious crimes by their own description. Mm-hmm. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
So there are really only two potential explanations that I can think of. Maybe you've got another. The first is that Trump is involved, that, Trump is on the list, that they've got tape of Trump doing something awful. I don't believe that for two reasons. One, I've talked to Trump about it a lot, and I know him. He's not that, for whatever his sins, I don't think he's that guy, actually. I don't think he likes creepy sex stuff. That's just my view. But more, I think, convincing is that this is all information that the Biden administration had. And if there was evidence that Trump had been involved in illegal sexual activity, you think the people who made up Russiagate wouldn't have leaked it?
Right.
Come on now. So the only other explanation that I can think of, again, maybe you've got another, is that intel services are at the very center of this story, U.S. and Israeli, and they're being protected. I think that seems like the most plausible.
That's the most obvious. I have a history of this. There have been multiple documented cases of pedophilia inside of the CIA perpetrated by CIA officers, documented that in many of those cases, I believe over a dozen cases, this was a BuzzFeed news piece years back, where the CIA specifically did not want to prosecute those individuals in federal court for fear that they would reveal sources and methods if they were pulled into open court, and they basically just made it go away. The only time they actually prosecuted somebody for child pornography was whenever he'd already being prosecuted for mishandling classified information.
Well, when they want to crush you, they put kiddie porn in your computers. Why don't have a computer? Don't own one.
If you're an important person, you should be careful.
No computer in my house.
This is an important thing, though.
Is that true?
We already have documented cases of them covering this up. I believe the CIA Inspector General, I forget the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, you wouldn't even believe the amount of child porn, that I've seen while I'm on this job.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see. I had another. Wow. This is. I fucking hate these bookmarks. They disappear on us. But let's go here to this guy who we've made fun of. He was Epstein's attorney. Now, this is Dersowitz. And now, Dersowitz we made fun of because he said, oh, I kept my socks on or I'm underwear, boxers or something. But he is, I will give this to him. He's very outspoken about wanting all the documents out there. So I think he's a dirtbag attorney. I think, so I'm an attorney as well. So, this comes from a place of authority. I also think he's a huge Zionist in the highest degree, kind of a scumbag on that front. But I almost tend to believe him on this because he's pushing so hard for these things. Or is it because he knows it will never come out? Maybe that's it too. But let's take a look at his little interview here.
This is a fact. I have seen. Remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people.
Is his God your God, though? Let's be...
whose files are being suppressed in order to...
Okay, you're saying you can't hear it. Let's, okay. Let's try this again.
Have seen. Remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights to privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld.
Okay, so he's got some interesting takes there. Now, from a, there's some believability in what he says. The worst part is here, as Eddie Grimm says, is that bookshelf is a disaster. His office is a disaster. That is embarrassing. I mean, get this shit off the wall. Just clean that stuff up. Do you have a kid? Do you have probably an intern or someone just come in there, a law clerk? Just come in there, a paralegal? Someone just come in there and pay them to clean it. It's horrible. What's this resist over here? He's such a douche. There we go. We played that one already. There's some good. Let's play Bill.
Eye to eye on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed. Because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be. But you certainly can have Attorney General Bondi say, this is what we know, and, you know, we're going to protect the innocent, and he's a heinous individual. In that press conference, sitting next to Pam Bondi, should be Merrick Garland, the Attorney General and Joe Biden, who had this material for 4 years. 4 years Biden had it. Yeah, you don't hear that from the left, do you?
I don't know. I mean, it's always about trying to blame the last group there. A lot of good stuff here. Grok went crazy. Let's hear what Trump had to say.
Lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the
Yeah, sure. If
Hey,
I
Pam,
could
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK.
Okay, I want to come back to that, because is that really what she said? I have it here somewhere. And once again, these bookmarks do not do justice. They leave some reason for some. These were not there. What the heck? These were not the bookmarks that were just there. So let's go back. I refreshed it. I wanted to get the interview with this douche lady. It's not that one. Oh, hey, look at those legs. Where did it go? Where did it go? Pam Bondi. Where did we go with? Okay, here we go. Let's see. And then it just disappeared. What? It was just there. Okay, here we
Jay
go.
may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
Now, DOJ there was another one where she actually said something like, I've looked at him, it's gross, you know, there's a lot, here's the video of the let's see here. This is like a minute. It just jumps a minute. That's crazy. It's crazy stuff here. Okay, let's go back to that interview. Let's see if we can find it. I gotta maybe come up with a better way to do these. These are not gonna happen. Okay.
Mysteries. One of the biggest ones is
It's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
Sounds okay. Could be true. It could be true, but the problem is these people are douchebags and they can't really be trusted at all. Let's go to this is an interesting little story that from my area of town. So California residents who launched fireworks on the 4th of July have tickets coming in the mail thanks to the police drones that were taking note. One resident, for example, racked up $100,000 in fines last summer due to the illegal use of fireworks. If you think you got away with it, you probably didn't, said Sacramento Fire Department Captain Justin Silva. What may have been a $1,000 fine for one occurrence last year could now be $30,000 because you lit off so many. Homeowners weren't even present at the property also have tickets coming in the mail due to social host ordinance. So lame. Yeah, let's
Video
take a
from
look.
their drones show this man lighting one, but it set something nearby on fire. Thankfully, they got it out. But Railsback says it highlights the danger.
This is dangerous for them to do. That's why our city has taken this stance and putting a hefty fine attached to it.
The fine for those caught is $1,500. And if you were caught, the letters will be arriving in your mailbox this week.
There's no disputing what you're going to see on the video. The fireworks that were going on were affiliated with your property. It's plain as day on these videos.
So does
Yeah, the ordinance rule must be, I haven't looked into it, must be pretty lame. Like the property is responsible. If we got TP'd the other day, am I responsible for that? I mean, I cleaned it up, but these motherfuckers threw TP in one of our big trees in the front. It had to be dudes throwing those things all the way to the top. And then they took chairs from the neighbors and put them in our front yard. Now, our kids are older. And there's no need for, I don't even understand why this is happening. All the kids like, I don't have any enemies at this point. My friends, my son's like, none of them, I think it's his friend's home. But anyway.
Dozens of homeowners can expect to get in the mail what's called an administrative citation. It's not criminal. In fact, it is a fine against the property for using the fireworks. But there is an appeal process.
They have every right to appeal it, but we believe that every citation going out has a very strong video evidence to support it.
So far, 60 property owners have been identified to be receiving the fine, but some say it's not right.
I think it's wrong. I mean, if you're going to cite somebody, do it person to person. That's invasion of privacy.
We're in a rightful place in the sky. It's no different than when we have our police helicopter. We have two brand new or newer police helicopters that go patrol.
Okay, I hate this donut guy. No, I'm not. We have our brand new helicopter. Okay, go fuck yourself. I am not a big, and this is the LA guy. I'm not a fan of fireworks though. And the reason I say that is because, especially in like the cul-de-sac that we're in, and people have done them. They're fucking retards. Okay, they would put a big bunch of fireworks on a remote control car and then drive it, and it got. This one time it got stuck underneath the car as it's all going off, and I'm just like. Dude, I care about my property. I don't want to have I don't want to burn someone's place and a bunch of houses down. So I get a little bit worked up over that. And then we have dogs and they can't handle this shit at all. So I get it here, but I don't like Porky Pig over here.
And they're looking for things to help support the officers on the ground.
Only time will tell whether the fines are a deterrent or just simply another cost of the celebration. Joy Benedict, KCAL News.
KCAL News. Last thing we're going to look at here is Dan Bongino. It's FBI's Dan Bongino clashes with AG Bondi over handling of Epstein Files. Deputy Director Dan Bongino took the day off work Friday after clashing with White House Attorney General Pam Bondi over their handling of the Epstein Files. There are four sources familiar with conflict told Axios. Why it matters. The dispute erupted Wednesday amid fallout of the administration walking back his claims about Epstein by determining the convicted sex offender didn't have a celebrity client list and that he wasn't murdered in a New York City prison cell in 2019. Bongino didn't come to work Friday, leading some insiders to believe he had quit. But administration officials said he's still on the job, and as the total tension over Epstein case continues. At the center of the argument, a surveillance video from the outside. Okay, we just heard about 10-hour video, 1 minute missing. Blah, blah, blah. Let's continue reading. Bongino, who had pushed Epstein conspiracy theories, part of the Mega Friendly podcast host for before Trump appointed him for lead FBI, had found the video and touted it privately as proof that Epstein actually hadn't been murdered. Shared by the FBI, Kash Patel, another conspiracy theorist turned insider, angered many in Trump's MAGA base, criticism that increased after Axios first reported the release of the video and a related memo. After the video's missing minute was discovered, Bongino was blamed internally for the oversight, according to 3 sources. 2 sources familiar with Bongino's position say he was increasingly displeased with Bondi's handling of the Epstein case because she had publicly overpromised and undelivered disclosures about an Epstein client list that apparently never existed. MAGA influencer Laura Loomer, a Bond critic. Now look, I think Pam Bondi is a piece of shit, but so is Laura Loomer. So these two can go fuck themselves. Wrote Friday on X that Bongino and Patel were furious with the way Bondi had handled the case. Some Trump advisors had criticized Bondi, but Trump loves Pam and thinks she's great, a senior White House. Because unfortunately, he's kind of a disaster himself. Those witnessing the Wednesday clash between Bondi and Bongino in the White House were Patel, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Deputy Chief of Staff Taylor Budowich. During the meeting, Bongino was confronted about a News Nation article that said he and Patel wanted more information released about Epstein earlier, but were held back. Bongino denied leaking that idea. Pam said her piece. Dan said his piece. Let's see what else. The blowing up involving Trump's senior law enforcement officials showed just how much the administration has been rocked by the handling of Epstein. See, this is why Trump's like, I'm done with this. This is why Trump's like, why are you guys still talking about it? It's like, because you're fumbling the fucking ball on this stuff. Your people are out there. Your people are out there giving binders. And then you're like, we did phase 1. We're going to do phase 2, but we don't do phase 2 because there was no client list. He didn't kill himself. All this other stuff. We're just ignore it. It's like, you guys created this problem. You put people in place that were vocal about this. Now they're claiming there's nothing there. And matter of fact, they're trying to gaslight everybody else that still says believe in what they did. Pam Bondi is overpromising, saying all kinds of shit's on her desk. It's a voluminous amount of stuff. We had to take a truckload of documents. I don't believe that either. She's a fucking liar. They're all liars. And then Trump's out there. Why are you guys still talking about this? Because you, Mr. Trump, and your administration, you're responsible for all these people, are still fucking around. This is a disaster, and they deserve everything they get from it. I think I'm done. That's all we're doing for tonight. Hopefully next week, maybe I should take a look at my calendar for next week. Maybe not. Hopefully next week we will have a little bit better show. I'll get things taken care of here. Like I said, if you want to watch me talk about bike racing, Between Two Wheels podcast, we do that every night. I'm going to go shut us down here, and then we are going to go over there. And then we are going to talk about that. We're going to finish out with Timcast. Can you hear this? I think you can. Tim Pool singing, as always. Okay, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Bye.
Stripes and bright stars through the never mind.